You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. What if you already have the power to shape the life you've always envisioned inside yourself? Get all the details in today's episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we explore the incredible power of creation, from the dreams we hold deep within to the confidence it takes to bring them to life. So often we hesitate to step into our true potential, held back by self-doubt or the belief that we're not ready. But what if we could shift those limiting beliefs, tap into our own inner strength, and manifest the lives we've always envisioned? Karys Ann Haggett is a renowned law of attraction and empowerment coach, workshop facilitator, master trainer, and ambassador for Turned Up Fitness in Australasia, who is dedicated to guiding women toward discovering their true passions and unlocking their full power, and to create the life they always dreamed of. With a deep commitment to helping women build unwavering confidence in themselves and the universe, Karys Ann empowers her clients to create their dreams into reality. Combining female embodiment dance with transformative coaching, law of attraction practices, and subconscious reprogramming, she inspires women to embrace their inner queen power and gives them the confidence to create the purpose-filled lives they have always searched for. Here is my interview with Karys Ann Haggett. Hi, Karys Ann. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because creating with confidence is such an intriguing topic for our conversation today. I can't wait to find out more. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Very excited to get talking into all things creative with confidence.
Yeah, and your angle on this is very interesting. So I can't wait to share that with our audience. And I'm sure that they're going to love what you are talking about today. And would you like to start us off with a little bit about your own story and kind of how all this started for you, what your life was like, what experiences you've gone through that brought you to what you do today, and maybe a bit about what it is that you do today?
Yeah, of course. I'd be happy to share. So I'd say really my journey into where I am now started maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. Back then, I was living in the Welsh Valleys. I'm from Wales originally. And to be totally honest, I was really probably a shell of myself, I would say. I had really great confidence when I was a child. I did drama in school. I went to musical theatre college, but there was a part of me that kind of lost myself when I got into the corporate world. I started working in a 9 to 5 office job, kind of lost all the parts of myself that I loved doing. I've always loved dancing and performing and doing all of those kind of things, and ended up kind of losing that part of myself, but also along that journey, getting really into a self-loathing relationship with myself. I really didn't like my body. I wasn't very kind to myself, I would say. I never liked spending time alone. I was always in these like dependent relationships as I was growing up. And yeah, I just kind of felt a bit lost for a while. And then I came across this dance fitness program, which is called Turned Up Fitness, which was started in Cardiff in Wales. And I went to my first class, and I honestly had this feeling that I hadn't felt in a very long time. When I went there, I felt really passionate, excited, like something had unlocked inside of me. And from that moment, from that very first class, I immediately thought I need to teach this. And I'd never thought I would ever teach a dance class. I didn't have the confidence to do that at all, even though I'd danced all my life, really, but never could see myself in front of a class teaching. But there was something about this that made me feel like I really needed to teach this to other women. When I went to that class, I felt just so empowered and free, and like nothing was a worry in the world at all. So I embarked on the training. It did take a little while for me to actually sign up. I was a bit nervous for a while, signed up to do the training. And on this weekend of doing turned up fitness instructor training in Wales, I was taught about the law of attraction and affirmations and self-development, none of which I knew anything about prior to this. It was all alien to me. And the owner, Shakira, she was talking about how she started this business with 5 pence in her pocket and a dream, basically, to have women teach this class worldwide. And then it kind of got me thinking into, wow, I can just change my thoughts to create a different life for myself. And she introduced me to Bob Proctor meditation, which was like my first into law of attraction and meditating. Even like prior to this, I'd been such an overthinker as well. I was always in my head, internally stressed, internally anxious, constantly. And so, yeah, from this training weekend, I kind of come out of there like a different woman, to be honest with you. And I, from that stage, kind of took a look at my life and thought, is not going in the direction that I want it to. We just got married, me and my husband, and we decided to just try out a year in Australia. We thought we'd go on a working holiday visa. We were about to turn 30. So we thought we'd try it out. We got on a plane. We put our house up for rent with our cat inside, bless. He's still in the home. And we got on a plane, went to Australia, and the borders closed actually like 3 weeks after we arrived. So we were locked in Australia. This time in Australia probably couldn't have come at the best time for me. It kind of allowed me to spend time on my own for the first time ever. I had never spent time alone before this. I was able to kind of explore myself and what I really wanted to do and get to learn what I loved. And of course, I just trained to be this turned up fitness instructor. So I was dancing all day, learning all of these dances, feeling really confident, really getting that confidence in myself and who I was and what I loved to do, as well as learning about the law of attraction. I could not wait to learn more. I was reading book after book, The Secret, The Power of Now, all of those novels by Louise Hay as well, and Gabrielle Bernstein, all of my favorite authors. And yeah, it just kind of led me to start thinking about what I actually wanted out of life and starting to focus my attention on something that I loved to do. And I'd always loved coaching people, training people in my jobs. That had always been a part of who I was. And I think throughout that kind of investigation around myself and what I like to do, I started exploring coaching. And a friend of mine who had just done the training, she was holding these women's circles, and I could really see the women growing from that. And I had also been coaching other women to become turned up fitness instructors, learning them to feel confident and empowered within their bodies. And I loved that weekend of coaching other women to bring out the best versions of themselves, like give me so much pleasure and passion and excitement. And so just combining those two things together felt so right for me. And you can probably tell the way I'm talking about it. It just makes me so excited and passionate to help other women not only find their purpose and passion in life. So that thing that drives them, that thing that makes them feel excited every day, but learning how to weave that into law of attraction, and as well as learning how powerful they are as women in their bodies, and going that full circle transformation of not only mind and body together is such a magical combination. And that is what I do today, is help women transform into the most confident version of themselves, the one that is living the life of their dreams, the one that they came searching for, particularly for female expats. Like, we go away with this big dream of wanting this amazing life for ourselves, and we find ourselves stuck in a same 9 to 5 job that is sucking the life out of us. That's what happened to me when I came to Australia. And now that I've found this, I really want to help other women do the same and find that confidence within themselves to go after that dream life that they deserve and that they're meant to be here for.
Yeah.
That was probably a bit of a long description.
Powerful
Sorry.
journey. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Very often we get stuck in sort of I want to call it maybe the rat race, where we don't think we have any other options, and it is the way that it is, and that's how it will always be. So I love this idea that we can pick up and we can do something different that really lights us up, that feeds our spirit. And we actually do this then with passion every day, instead of just going someplace that really has us coming back feeling absolutely beaten down and exhausted every evening. So yeah, that's really cool that you just packed up and went to Australia, and you're still in Australia. So
yes,
yeah, you're still working there. Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, tell us a little bit about the law of attraction, because I think that some listeners might be familiar with it. You know, there was a very well-known movie made about it. So some listeners might know, but what is the law of attraction, and how do you place that into what you do with your clients? How does that fit into the framework of how you work with your clients?
Yes, so the law of attraction, and I like to keep this as simple as possible, is to help you realize that it's a philosophy, basically, that your thoughts create your reality. What you give out is what you attract. So, in simple terms, and I always explain this in this way to my clients, we are in this cycle of what we call a belief cycle. Our beliefs create our thoughts, which create our feelings, which create our actions, and turn into those beliefs. When it comes to law of attraction, what we believe is therefore what our thoughts become, which is therefore our actions. So if we can look to identify what beliefs we currently hold about ourselves, about the world, and tailor those to actually become beliefs that we want to have, not the ones that we don't want. So it's about focusing your attention on the things that you want, the thoughts that you want to think, the feelings that you want to feel, and therefore your reality will reflect those things back to you. So many of us find ourselves in, and this was me as well, for so many years, in the worry cycle, worrying about the worst case scenarios, even simple things like when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you then spill coffee all over yourself, and then you're on your way to work and all the traffic lights are red and it's becoming into the worst day ever, and you're on this spiral of reoccurring bad events happening. That same exact thing can happen if you start to focus your attention on what you do want. So being very cautious about the thoughts that you're thinking and ruminating on, particularly. And when you say words, make sure you're talking about the things that you do want to happen. I find myself now, and it was one of the very first things I get my clients to do, is look at the words that they are saying out loud. Is that what you actually want? And just continuously asking themselves that question, is that what I want? And if it's not, then try and take back those words and replace them with the things that you do want. And it's usually flipping that script. So yeah, it is just tailoring those thoughts to focus on the things you do want. What you focus on is what you attract. Where your focus goes, energy flows, and that's where you can create whatever life you want for yourself if you can just control and refocus and reprogram that mind to focus on the things that you do want.
Thank you for that explanation. And I'm a little bit curious. So there are many people who are sort of stuck in this place of not having what they would like in their lives. So be that relationships or financial situations, work, whatever, or health even, right? There's many health concerns as well. And some of the people I've spoken to, they tell me, well, every day I think these thoughts of what I want, but I've done this for 5 years and nothing has happened. So is there something that they're missing? Is there something that we need to learn about or that we need to incorporate on top of just thinking about the things that we want? Is there a component that's missing there?
Yeah, there totally is. And I'm glad you asked that. It's not just thinking about the things that we want. We need to be the things that we want is the key. So you can think about things, but you can sometimes think all you want, but you're not generating the feelings. For one, it's the feeling, that vibration of the feeling is what we attract. So it is about becoming what it is that you want to attract. So if you want to attract a relationship, it is about getting curious about what kind of relationship do you want? How do you want to feel in that relationship? And what are the things that you can do right now to make you feel those exact feelings that you want to feel in that relationship? And the more that you can do those things, the more you can practice them daily, make yourself be the person you want to be with. That is where the magic happens and the things can just come to you more quickly. So not only that, it's about being what it is, but sometimes it's hard to do that, right? Like, how can we be that thing if we've never experienced that thing? And if that is something that has been happening for you and you've been stuck in this cycle of just thinking and nothing's happening, then have a little look deeper at what your belief systems are. Like, do you actually believe that that's possible for you? Has there been a situation in your childhood, in your past, where something has made you believe that that is not possible for you? And you need to really deep dive into that core belief system to understand what is actually blocking you from attracting that thing into your life. So yeah, there's a couple of factors there. So always more than likely comes back to your belief systems, but
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because that happens a lot. People write affirmations, they think about them, but nothing happens. So they come back a few years later and they say, well, I've done all these things, but nothing's happened. So basically it also comes down to frequency, right? Like where we are at with our frequency in our own mind and body, and whether we manage to actually raise that to the level that we want to be at. Now, if we have a lot of limiting beliefs around money or relationships, or whether we deserve love or whether we deserve to be compensated for our services, a lot of these things are stuck very deeply in our mind and body. How do we shift those beliefs so that we can actually move forward with some of the things that we want in our lives? Do you help clients kind of root out these limiting beliefs and shift them?
yes, that is definitely a core part of my coaching programs because a lot of the time that is the blocker for creating this life that you want for yourself. And it's not impossible, but it is a little bit harder to do that without somebody asking the right questions and really getting into your past experiences and getting you to think back to those times from the very beginning. And a lot of the time it has happened in that stage where the majority of your subconscious beliefs have been created before the age of 7. So you can generally try and like take that back to an experience in your childhood where you were first given and you took on that belief that you weren't good enough, or that is the general one where a lot of people have got that I am not good enough story from someone somewhere. So it is about, again, you can get curious with yourself even. And this is one of the things about connecting that like body to the law of attraction work as well, is just closing down the eyes, taking a couple of deep breaths and just taking an internal question to yourself. Where does this belief come from? Where does this belief of not being good enough come from? Who gave it to me? When did they give it to me? And is there another more helpful belief with what I know now that I could give to that past version of myself? And there'll usually be like a part of your body that belief will sit within. So get internal, ask, where does that belief sit in my body? What age was I when that belief was created? And sometimes you get that intuitive answer come back to you. So you can really just sit with yourself and do that. But obviously it is a bit easier when you've got somebody there to guide you and take you through those techniques, which I do use a lot of NLP practices to rewrite those subconscious beliefs about yourself and create a new, more loving, helpful belief to help you create that future you want for you.
Yeah, very often I find that in exactly those situations, there is a lot of fear and anxiety involved because those are sometimes scary steps to make a change or a major change in our lives, even though when we look at the future, where we want to be, it's very attractive. Say we want to change jobs and we see ourselves in a job we actually love, right? That's a change that will lead us to something more positive. But the in-between bits can be the really scary parts of not knowing whether you actually will find this job or you might lose your income. You have to pay for a roof over your head. So these in-between bits can be really, really scary. So how do you work with your clients to take those first steps if they're hesitant, but they're clearly unhappy in the place that they're in at the moment? How can they overcome some of these things that are holding them back and that they're fearful about and scared about? How do you help them with that?
This is a great question, and one that honestly obviously comes up a lot, because whenever you do something new, you're going to feel fear. And I think that's the number one thing, is recognizing that, first of all, that even Beyonce feels fear. The first time Beyonce went on stage, she was scared. She was scared as heck. I haven't spoken to her directly, but I bet she would tell me that. So it is just about realizing that everybody feels fear. It is a normal response, a normal biological response to the way our brain reacts to doing something new. When we remember that our brains are still in caveman times, our brains still believe that we are a caveman. So whenever we do something that is outside of the norm, outside of society standards, something that's outside of your comfort zone, that fear response is triggered, and it feels as scary as death to your brain. When obviously we realize now that reality has caught up a bit, our biology hasn't, but we are no longer in life-threatening danger. So the fear you feel is just maximized by the chemicals in your brain, the way our biology works, and the only way to get past it is to move. It's always going to be there, always going to be there, until you take the first step and prove to your subconscious mind that you are not going to get eaten by a cheetah. That is the only way to get past it, which is sometimes very unimpressive for your clients. Like, what do you mean? That's all I need to do is move. But how many times have you been in that scenario where you've fretted about something, you've worried about it, and then you did it and you're like, well, that wasn't scary at all. What was I worried about? Like, that is always your reaction to whenever you do those things. So I've got this thing where you just count down and do 3, 2, 1, do it. 3, 2, 1, go. Don't think, just do as quickly as possible. Immediate, imperfect actions. Usually I'll get my clients to take action the day that we've just got off the call, like immediately. So they've got less time to think about it and more time to move forward and realize that it's actually not as scary as their brain is making it out to be.
Yeah. And I think we get to recognize over time these feelings of fear, meaning we're moving into just a new experience, but it's not necessarily bad, right? So
Exactly.
just unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar. And I'm a bit addicted to that feeling now, I've got to say. Like, when you start doing it and pushing past it and realizing that's your new comfort zone, and every time you feel it again, it means that you're growing a bit more. Like, I get excited about that feeling. Like, it's a nervous excitement, but I get addicted to feeling it now. I'm like, I just want to feel that again. Like, it's an exciting thing to feel. It just means growth, and that is all. And also, one of the other things I do is actually get them to play out the worst case scenario, actually say it and write it down. Because generally, when they do that, it is, as soon as they start saying it, they're like, and I ask, and then what? And they're like, oh, well, then I'll just go back into another job and keep doing what I'm doing now. So then when they realize they're actually in their worst case scenario right now, so they have nothing at all to lose by trying something new, they can just go back to where they've always been and where they've felt comfortable before, even though that will very rarely happen when they've taken that leap. But yeah, just making them realize and act out that worst case scenario sometimes is enough for them to say, actually, it's not that bad.
Yeah, we tend to focus on sort of the negatives that can happen, but in reality, we usually find ways through that and around that
Yeah.
because we have had experience with a lot of those things in life. So, yeah, that's very true. And
also get them to refocus their attention on what is the best case scenario.
yeah,
We think about the worst one a lot, but what's the best case scenario? And get excited about that and use that as motivation to move.
yeah, it's going to connect you to those feelings you were talking about before, right? Those
Yeah,
excited
exactly.
and joyful feelings that will come. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about how actually aligning with your purpose and joy changes people, because when we are stuck in the ruts that we are stuck in and we are unhappy, this does not only have consequences in our own happiness, it has consequences in our physical health, it has consequences in our relationships, it has consequences in our work. Our unhappiness ripples through all of those things and kind of drips into everything. So when people or even yourself, when you decided to make that change, I mean, you actually changed countries, but internally also, what did that do for you? Do you feel any different? Does your body feel any different now that you're more aligned with your passion and your own joy? What happened to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you definitely feel a shift in your whole entire being when you're doing the things that you love. And I think one of the main ways to identify that is your energy levels. If you're doing a job that is not meant for you, you will feel depleted, you will feel lacking in energy, which then obviously changes the vibration of the body, which causes in all these diseases. And that's where that is created. So when you start doing something that lights you up, something that you love, you get more energy. And a lot of people always ask me, how do you get so much energy? How have you got so much energy to do all these things? I'm like, it's because I love it. I love every part of what I do. And so for me, that it's not work when you're doing that. It is just what your soul is meant to be doing. It is what you're here to do. And I always like this is one of the parts of the journeys that my clients go through is finding out what it is, what that thing is that is going to light them up inside. Even though a lot of the time they really don't know, have no idea, it's always been there. It's always been in them. It's connecting them back to that younger version before society got in the way and we got told that we weren't good enough and all of that. We always knew why we were here. So it's connecting them back to that part of themselves that really felt lit up and excited about life. And yeah, again, to follow that passion, when the ripple effect goes the other way to your body, is the same if we look into the positive, right? So if you're doing something you love, you're feeling grateful every single day for doing it. And you are also inspiring other people to do the same thing. And I think that's such a massive part of it is a lot of the clients I work with are people pleasers, just like I was as well, giving their energy out to everyone else. But by you taking that energy and giving yourself that power to move in the direction you've always wanted to move, that is the only way you're going to inspire other people to do the same thing. Like people believe that it's possible because you've done it. And so for me, that is like the biggest learning is by going after what you want, not only will you feel differently, you'll attract better experiences. I always think when you start following that thing that you love, the universe just conspires to bring everything to you, and all these amazing synchronicities come up in your life. And this is exactly what happened with my husband, actually, when he moved to Australia. First of all, he just decided to become a photographer. He had never picked up a camera before. And he, just picked up a camera, started taking photos. You just got to start somewhere. And when you do that, all of these opportunities just started coming his way. And he's now 4 years into his business. He's just set up his like official company here in Australia, and now doing like video production as well. And he hasn't had to try hard, truthfully, because he was just following the thing that he was meant to be doing, the thing that excites him, the thing that gives him energy. And then the universe is dropping all of these opportunities in his way. Like he's gone away to Italy, traveling with his job. So it just conspires in the most magical way. And you'll know that nothing that is not meant for you will come easy. If it's meant for you, it will feel easy when you're in that space, when you're in that place of flow, and you're not letting fear, not letting the doubts, not letting the limiting beliefs hold you back. Like things just fall into place like magic. And that for me is like, oh, not even a word to describe that.
That's the secret sauce.
It is the secret sauce. That's
Absolutely.
what it is. It's the secret sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like there's a measure of trust involved in that as well. Trusting yourself that you can actually get to this place, right? So a lot of us have that doubt that we, like you said, aren't good enough and we can't do this. So is there one thing maybe that you can leave our listeners with on how they can take that first step towards that trust, or towards kind of working with their thoughts and beliefs? One thing that they could maybe do after this episode that they could start with. I think you might have something brewing there. So let us know what that is.
It's really hard to say one thing. I've got so many things. I'm trying to think of my most powerful technique now. But honestly, one of the most simple things you can do, which I get all my clients to do, is upload a photo of you as a child, you in your cutest era, the era where you thought anything was possible, usually about 5 or 6. You're in that space. Upload the photo of that to your phone home screen and keep it there. Every time that you question whether what you're doing is right, you ask that little girl, would this make her proud? Would she be proud of me if I did this? Like, is this what she would want? Keep getting back to that younger version of you, the one that felt all her dreams are possible, and ask her that question. And I promise that will give you the motivation to move forward. Not only that, but it's an excellent tool for self-compassion. Every time your negative Nancy mind starts to spiral, again, would you talk to this little girl like that? Probably not. What would you say to her?
Oh, that is really powerful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And there you go. Anyone who's listening, go find that picture of yourself when you were younger, had a really great time, happy memories, and put that on your phone. And let's test this out. And definitely let us know about that. How you make out with that when you upload that photo and you give yourself a bit of time with that. Let us know what happens. Now, Karys Ann, you work with clients, you offer them services and programs around everything that we've just talked about. And what is available? How can our listeners work with you if they've been kind of piqued their interest now, they're wanting to dip their toes in this, they're curious? How can they reach you and how can they work with you?
Yes, of course. So I am currently launching my 16-week one-to-one coaching journey called I Can Create with Confidence. So this is a new signature program with very limited spots in, but it connects that law of attraction mindset with feeling confident and comfortable in your body and in yourself. So combining movement that makes you feel powerful, makes you feel like you are the creator of your own reality, and gives you the necessary gifts, tools, techniques, and focuses to start creating that life that you've always dreamed of for yourself, the one that little 5, 6-year-old girl wanted, to actually start believing in yourself to go after those things that you've always wanted and becoming that version of yourself that you know is in there, the highest, most compassionate version of you. So that is my 16-week one-to-one coaching program. You can contact me via the website. It's www.karysann.com and book a free clarity call in with me to see if we are a suitable match to go on that journey together. I always like to make sure that I connect with that person that I'm taking on that journey. It's so important that we both see that we are the ones that can create such a transformation in the client. So that's definitely a really important part for me. And I would, love for you to get in contact if that resonated and you feel like you are ready to step into that power and start pursuing that life that you've always dreamt of.
Amazing. And we will be linking to all of Karys Ann's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there for links to her website, her programs, and I assume you're on the socials as well. So we'll link to that so people can find you and can find out more about how they can work with you. And if they're interested in the one-on-one coaching, then they can reach out and get in touch. And let us know if you do end up working with Karys Ann, how that works out for you. We always love to hear when our guests and our listeners connect and the magic that follows. So reach out to us on Instagram, send us a message, let us know on the podcast how that was for you, your experience, anything that happened in your life, transformations that you went through. We're always curious to find out more about that as well. And thank you so much for being here today, Karys Ann. It's been a really fun and enlightening half hour. And thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge and coming and spending time with us today. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And take care, and we'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejōrni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.